Welcome to Historian Diary. Today I'm going to tell you one of Rome's darkest secrets, a truth that has been buried among the screams echoing in the arenas. Now close your eyes and transport yourself back 2,500 years. Under the massive shadow of the Colosseum, amid the roar of the crowd, a woman stands in the center of the arena, a sword in her hand, wearing nothing but a loincloth, facing another warrior. But this is no ordinary show, because this woman is breaking all of Rome's rules, all expectations, all prohibitions. This woman is a gladiator. What comes to mind when we say Roman Empire? Mighty armies, magnificent palaces, enormous amphitheaters, and of course gladiators. But have you ever wondered, were there women among those gladiators? This is where the story gets really interesting, because Roman men tried to hide this truth for centuries. But stones speak, graves keep no secrets, and the evidence reaching us from the depths of history is undeniable. Female gladiators were real, and their story was one of the bravest rebellions against Rome's patriarchal order. In the year 264 BC, a funeral ceremony is being held in Rome. The sons of Senator Brutus Pera organize a ceremony in memory of their father. There, before the public, hired fighters engage in a bloody struggle. This is how gladiator games began. Starting as a ritual to honor the dead, it would transform into Rome's greatest entertainment industry. Over the centuries, millions of people and animals would lose their lives in these arenas. But today we're telling the story of the forgotten, the women lost in the dusty pages of history. Being a woman in Rome was not easy. Your life was completely dependent on men. First your father, then your husband. There was no freedom. You would sit at home, bear children, be faithful to your husband, be quiet and submissive, modesty, loyalty, obedience. These were the only things expected of a Roman woman. But what if you didn't want these things? What if you wanted to be free? This is where some women make an incredible decision. They decide to enter the arena. They decide to become gladiators. In Roman society, the position of women was very clear. Male writers, lawmakers, and historians constantly wrote about how women should be. But what did women think? We have no idea, because women couldn't write. They couldn't make their voices heard. Thousands of works survived from Rome, but all were written by men. Women's thoughts and dreams are buried in silence. But there is one exception, a young woman named Sulpicia, a poet who lived in the 1st century BC. In her poem, she talks about her love, her freedom, her rebellion. She says it's so tiring for a woman to constantly conform to reputation, so it's beautiful to be defiant. Women weren't silent. They were just silenced. Sulpicia grew up in an enlightened family. Her father was a famous orator, her uncle an important writer, but she still wasn't free. Her uncle had complete control over her. Even in the most enlightened family, a woman was not free. So what were ordinary families like? That's why some women chose the arena, because there on those blood-soaked sands, they could truly be free for the first time. So where are you watching from? Which country? Write in the comments, I'm curious. In the year 11 AD, an interesting law is passed in the Roman Senate. This law prohibits freeborn women under 20 from participating in arena games. If you're issuing a prohibition, something that needs to be prohibited is already happening. So women were fighting in the arena, and this was common enough that it needed to be banned. But only freeborn women under 20 are banned. If a woman is 21 and freeborn, she can still enter the arena. Women wanted this. They chose this path themselves. Years pass. Emperor Septimius Severus is on the throne. The year 200 AD. The emperor completely bans all women from entering the arena. He says these shows encourage disrespect towards women. But the real reason is fear. If women train as athletes, they might want to participate in the Olympic Games. He sees it as a threat to social order. The ban is specifically aimed at upper-class women, because rich noble women were entering the arena of their own will. And this was turning Rome's male-dominated order upside down. But did the ban work? Of course not. At the end of the 3rd century AD, an inscription is found in Ostia, the port city near Rome. The city's ruler, Hostilianus, was the first person to allow women to fight since Ostia's founding. Hostilianus cleverly found a loophole. The ban was for upper-class women. Lower-class women and slaves could still fight. Women are still in the arena, still fighting, still searching for freedom on those bloody sands. Now let me tell you about gladiator training. Women went through the same training. They would go to gladiator schools called Ludus. There were 4 main disciplines: Myrmillo, heavily armored warriors with swords; Retiarius, light warriors with nets and spears; Secuta, fighters specially trained against Retiarius; and Thraex, Thracian-style warriors with small shields and curved swords. Women did the same thing. Same training, same techniques, same rules, and their rewards were the same: fame, fortune, and freedom. The Roman philosopher Seneca talks about gladiator games. He writes that there were special shows with female entertainers. But over time, these women became real gladiators. They were entering the arena for real fights. Another writer, Juvenal, hates female gladiators. He constantly mocks them. He says, what sense of shame can be found in a woman with a helmet who loves brute force? Juvenal is angry because women aren't staying home raising children. No, they're in the arena and the public loves them. What time is it where you are? Still watching? Let me know in the comments. The historian Tacitus writes that many distinguished ladies and senators disgraced themselves by appearing in the amphitheater. Another historian, Cassius Dio, says not only knights but men and women from senatorial rank were performing in the Colosseum. They rode horses, killed wild animals, and fought as gladiators. We're not just talking about poor women or slaves. Noble women from the highest ranks of society were choosing to enter the arena, and this was driving Roman men crazy. Now I want to tell you about physical evidence. In 1996, archaeologists make an incredible discovery in London. They find a woman's remains called the Great Dover Street Woman, also known as the Gladiator Girl. After cremation, only the pelvis remained, but the abundance of expensive lamps, evidence of a luxurious feast, and pine cones which were burned to purify the arena after games all suggest this is the grave of a respected gladiator. This woman was honored. She was celebrated. Her death was mourned. She was someone important, but that's not all. In Bodrum, Turkey, a relief dating to the 2nd century AD is found. 2 women are clearly depicted as gladiators. At their feet are their stage names, Amazon and Achillea. These were probably gladiators, reenacting the famous story of Achilles and the Amazon queen Penthesilea. Above the figures is written "stands Mrs., meaning the women fought to an honorable draw. The women must have been popular enough to deserve the expense of the work. In Leicester, England, a ceramic is found with the inscription Verecunda Ludia Lucius Gladiator. Some interpret Ludia as female gladiator. And in Hamburg, Germany, there's a statue that for years was misunderstood. Now it's recognized as a female gladiator holding a psyche. The figure stands victorious with the weapon raised, bare-breasted and wearing only a loincloth. This matches descriptions of female gladiators who fought topless like their male counterparts, wearing minimal armor. The statue represents a female Thraex gladiator who has triumphantly thrown off her helmet and raised her weapon in victory. So why did women become gladiators? In a society where everything was forbidden to them, where they had no voice, no choice, no freedom, why choose such a dangerous life? The answer is simple. In the arena, they had control. They made their own decisions. They were not someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's property. In the arena, they were themselves. They were warriors. They were free. Of course, there was a price. When a woman entered the arena, she gave up any claim to respectability. But some evidence shows that female gladiators were honored just as much as their male colleagues. Remember the Great Dover Street Woman's grave? That wasn't the grave of a despised person. That was the grave of someone celebrated. So maybe for these women, real respect wasn't what society gave them, but what they earned for themselves. The Ludus were tough places. Training started before dawn and continued until sunset. You learned how to hold a weapon, how to move, how to strike, how to defend, how to survive. Women underwent exactly the same training as men. No special treatment. If you wanted to be a gladiator, you had to prove you could handle it. And many women did. Did you know about female gladiators before this video? Share in the comments, what did the crowd want? Blood, drama, skill, courage. They wanted to see warriors push themselves to the limit, and female gladiators provided that entertainment just as well as male gladiators, maybe even better. There was something shocking, something transgressive about seeing a woman in the arena. It challenged everything Roman society believed about women, and people loved it, but not everyone loved it. Many Roman writers were horrified. They saw it as degradation, corruption, moral decay. But the more they complained, the more it suggests the practice was common. If it was just a rare oddity, they wouldn't have spent so much time writing about it. Female gladiators were a real and persistent phenomenon in Roman society. Think about what it took for a woman to become a gladiator. You had to be willing to give up everything. Your family might disown you. Society would look down on you. But you would also have something that most Roman women never had: choice, agency, control over your own life. You could earn your own money. You could be famous in your own right, not as someone's wife or daughter, but as yourself. For some women, that trade was worth it. A gladiator fight wasn't just random violence. It was choreographed, structured, ritualized. Female gladiators followed the same protocols. They would enter the arena to the roar of the crowd. They would salute the sponsor. The fight would begin. Fights could end in death, though this wasn't always the case. Gladiators were expensive to train, so killing them unnecessarily was wasteful. But injuries were common, and death was always a possibility. For female gladiators, fighting other women was standard, but sometimes they fought men or even wild animals. Some matches were serious contests of skill, while others were theatrical, reenacting famous myths. Amazon and Achillea, their fight was probably a dramatic reenactment, combining real combat with storytelling. Gladiators weren't just mindless brutes. They were athletes, performers, celebrities. The best gladiators were household names. People would bet on them, cheer for them, worship them. Their images appeared on pottery, mosaics, graffiti. They were the sports stars of their day, and female gladiators could achieve this same level of fame. Some female gladiators came from wealthy families. These weren't just poor women or slaves. Some had everything: comfortable life, security, status, but they chose to throw it all away. Why? Maybe they wanted adventure. Maybe they were rebels who refused to accept limitations. Maybe they loved to fight. We'll never know their exact motivations. But the fact that they made this choice tells us something profound about the human desire for freedom. The Roman government's repeated attempts to ban female gladiators tell us something important. If it was truly shameful, why did they need laws against it? The fact that they kept passing these laws suggests women kept finding ways around them. Women were determined to fight, and they weren't going to let laws stop them. Gladiator games started to decline in the late Roman Empire. The rise of Christianity changed attitudes toward these brutal spectacles. Christians opposed gladiator games as barbaric. Emperor Constantine began restricting them in the early 4th century. By 404 AD, Emperor Honorius officially banned gladiator games. With the end of gladiator games came the end of female gladiators. Their brief moment in history was over, but their legacy remains. These women, whose names we mostly don't know, whose faces we can only imagine, they were pioneers. They were rebels. They were warriors. They refused to accept the role society assigned them. They chose danger over safety, freedom over security, glory over respectability. They stepped into the arena knowing they might die there, but also knowing that in that arena, they were truly alive. They were truly free. Today, when we think about women breaking barriers, entering male-dominated fields, refusing to accept limitations, we're seeing a story as old as civilization itself. Those Roman women who picked up swords and entered the arena weren't so different from women today who pursue careers they're told they can't have, who compete in sports they're told they shouldn't play, who demand rights they're told they don't deserve. The details change, but the fundamental story remains the same. There have always been women who refused to be limited, who insisted on living life on their own terms. The story of female gladiators reminds us that history is complex. Roman women faced severe restrictions, but even within those restrictions, some women found ways to carve out space for themselves, to exercise choice, to pursue their own paths. History isn't just about the powerful. It's also about the rebels and misfits, the people who didn't fit into neat categories, who challenged the status quo. So what's the final takeaway? Female gladiators existed. They were real, despite centuries of male writers trying to downplay them, despite laws trying to ban them, despite a society that insisted women should be quiet and submissive. They existed. They trained, they fought, they won fame and fortune. They remind us that women have always been stronger, braver, and more defiant than patriarchal societies wanted to admit. They remind us that the desire for freedom is universal and timeless. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the world of female gladiators, please like this video and subscribe to Historian Diary. We explore fascinating stories from history that often get overlooked. What other historical topics would you like me to cover? Let me know in the comments. And one last question, would you have had the courage to become a gladiator in ancient Rome? Really think about it. Could you have made that choice? Let me know your thoughts. Until next time, keep exploring history with me.